All right, we're finally back on, excuse me, to the Cub Cadet. So I'm going to tell you guys what I have done thus far off of camera. Obviously, I pulled the blower housing off. And we know that we were having an issue where as soon as I turn the key on, this is the input line, that's the output line. Excuse me, this is the output line delivering 12 volts. And this is the input line receiving 12 volts positive. And this one, when you would turn the key on, would immediately go to ground. Why was it going to ground? It was frustrating. And I had E-Rock suggest that it was the or to try unplugging the PTO switch and also unplugging, what else? Oh, the regulator. Excuse me, not the regulator, but the, oops, I dropped my light. The relay. So I did that. I still had the fault. So I thought, okay, I'm going to dig a little deeper here. I'm going to get into it and see. I'm going to get this thing to stay put. Just find a happy place and stay there. That'll work good enough. So then I proceeded to, at first I took this part, found that it was the red and white wire, traced the red and white wire. I also unplugged the clutch itself, unplugged everything I could find to unplug, and the fault continued with the blower housing on. As soon as I took the blower housing off, I came over here and I started testing with the power probe, looking for that ever elusive red and white wire. Unbeknownst to me, that red and white wire feeds here, but it also feeds over that way, directly from the key switch over that way. And I was like, well, what's it feeding over there? There's nothing over there. Nothing over there. I mean, there are no wires over there. Well, there might be 3 underneath the flywheel. And it took me taking the blower housing off and going by the suggestion of Wireman Bob that there was a good possibility that it was the regulator rectifier. So this alternator that's on this, or stator, puts out AC current. The rectifier changes it over to 12 volt DC so you can keep your battery topped off. Well, that's what happened. And to prove it to myself, I came over, and like I say, it took getting the blower housing off to even know it was there, because that sucker hides way up under here with 2 bolts. You cannot see it. You do not know it's there until you pull the thing out. Excuse me, and you see the pigtail with the 3 plugs in it. Well, that sucker right there has a bad diode in it, and it's allowing negative to pass back through, which is what kept blowing the fuses. Now, it would run for a short time on a 20 amp fuse, which is what this is supposed to have. So after unplugging that, I thought, all right, let's see what happens if I just throw a 5 amp fuse in there. Oh, and I do have a wiring diagram, but let me show you this wiring diagram. No, your eyes are not blurry. The wiring diagram that I pirated off of the internet, you cannot read anything. Nothing. So it was pretty much worthless because it doesn't actually route excuse me, doesn't actually route the wires where okay, I'm sorry. It is not a schematic that is showing you an engine and showing you the routing of the wires. It just shows you all the wires and all the connections. So I grabbed myself a 5-amp fuse right there, because I knew if this thing started and kept running on a 5-amp fuse when it requires a 20, that I had found the problem. And then I went back, I plugged the rectifier back in, started it. It started for just a split second and blew that fuse. So that confirmed to me that it was the rectifier. So Wireman Bob, my friend, you nailed it. You got it. That was exactly what the problem was. So it's a $15 part. It should be here tomorrow. But just to show you guys that this thing will start and run on a 5-amp fuse. Now remember, the 20 amps, they were getting hot. It would run for, I don't know, maybe 30 seconds to a minute, and then it would finally blow the fuse. That's because it was getting that negative ground feedback. Parasitic feedback, I guess, from the diode inside that solid state rectifier. So we're going to plug in that 5-amp fuse, and we're going to see about starting the Cub Cadet. So let's come over here. I have to make sure the brake is on. Brake is on. Let me go ahead and get this light off of there so that it doesn't go hell west bent and crooked. So mind you, 5-amp, the itty bitty little guy that should certainly blow. Let's get the choke. Ready? I'll make sure nothing else is in the way. Nothing else is in the way. We've got our power on our dash. Contact. Alright, now I'm going to come back over and I am going to plug in this rectifier and start it again. So you guys just sit right there and sort of kind of semi-watch me do this. All I'm doing is plugging it in. Just going to plug it in and run one of these bolts in case the unit needs to be ground. And you'll see how long it'll run and how quickly it blows that fuse. Come on, get in there. I said get in there. There we go. Drop one. See if we can get the other one. Alright. I'll show you guys. I've just got it loosely in there. But that sucker's flat out hidden when you have everything wired up and you've got the blower housing on. You cannot see it at all. Had no clue it was over there. So we've still got the 5-amp fuse in. Let's start it again, see how long it'll run before it dies. Are you ready? Oops, I gotta push the clutch back in again. Sorry. There we go. Okay, here we go. That's it. Now let's check that fuse. I don't know if you can see the black spot, but it definitely blew that fuse. That fuse is history. So, that's what the issue was. So, Wireman Bob, you're my hero. You got it figured. So I went ahead and picked up a oil filter and air filter. It's got brand new blades on it. It's not going to need much else other than that, other than an oil change and just lubing everything up. And something just to let people know when they're going out and looking for a used machine what you need to look for. You see the grease caked on here? That's what you want to look for. And the grease on the Zerk, you don't want to see a clean Zerk and no grease up here on a machine that's even got 5 years on it. That means the owner has not maintained it. With this thing having new blades on it, grease in the kingpins, and the deck all cleaned out, everything clean, it tells me that the owner was proud of it. Apparently they just got tired of it and decided to trade it in and get them a new one. So there we have it. That's, and the deck's not all dented up, and I think this one even came with, yeah, it's got 2 deck cleaners. You got one over here, and you come over here and it's got a deck cleaner over here also. And the previous owner even left the attachment that you use to hook to your garden hose. So I thought that was just awesome too. And he ordered the lawn roller with it. So you can get these with just wheels on the back, or you can get them with the roller. And the fact that this guy bought the roller with it meant that he was really particular about his lawn. And if he's particular about his lawn, he's gonna be just as particular with his machines. And this machine is actually really clean for its age. So I'm gonna wrap it up. Waterman Bob, you're the hero in this story. As soon as the new one comes in, we'll throw it in there and start her up, make sure we're charging. Because when we start it right now, what we get is a battery light on the dash telling us that we're not charging. But we already know that, right? I think I had the 20 amp fuse sitting right there, and I'm pretty sure it just blew off and went hell west bent and crooked. So instead of looking for it, I'll just grab another 20 amp and throw it in there. And I'm going to go ahead and take it out before I do the oil change, warm it up a bit, let it go ahead and run off the battery for a little while. It's a brand new battery and I topped it off. But there you go. That is what the problem was with the good old GT1554 Cub Cadet. Let me go ahead and grab another fuse right now and stick it in there. It's really windy out, and I've got a lot of branches to clean up, but I do have some clear areas that I can go ahead and mow real quick. Just a couple of swaths. Don't want to put too much of a strain on the battery, then I'll just throw the battery charger on it. And speaking of batteries, anybody that has a Rural King near them, I always stock up on batteries at the beginning of the season. I have already gone through 3. This is the second set of 3. And these new ones even come with handles. And if you look down here, these are X-side batteries. X-side batteries. You got a 3-month free replacement, 12-month limited warranty. Prorated warranty. But if you go get them now, they're offering a rebate on the batteries. So if you were to get the L and G mail-in rebate, you get $7.50 back on each battery, and that's for a $19 battery. I believe it's 19. Yep, right there, $19.99. So a $20 battery, you're getting $7.50 back. Where else can you go and pay $13.50 for a riding mower battery? Huh? So you just go through this. I got multiple copies of my receipts, and yeah, you got to go old school and mail the stuff in. But oh, look, you can submit the rebate online at ruralkingbatteryrebate.com. So I'll probably do this. Complete this coupon and include a photocopy of your sales receipt. I'm not going to go old school. I'll go ahead and just go this route right here. I'll do it online. That way I can just get it done and over with. But took my battery charger. They all topped off and said fully charged within a minute. It's my analog. Well, I take it back. It is digitally controlled, but with the analog readouts instead of my digital one. And these are the smaller 280 cold cranking amp above 32 degrees. Still plenty enough power to turn over most of today's engines. And if you guys want, we can just go ahead and take a look and see, because Exide, typically when you're testing them, come in way above the rated cold cranking amps. So we have what, 280. Let's do this, make sure we can see it. English, out of vehicle. I'm going to call it before charge because none of them charged. They were already topped off. Regular flooded cold cranking amps. What does that say? 350. We got to back that back down to 280. Now let's test it. Now remember, we're looking for 280 cold cranking amps. 285 cold cranking amps. So there, you got it. Right from the horse's mouth. And I'm a big proponent of Exide batteries. They're not sponsoring me, and Rural King's not sponsoring me, but I really like Exide batteries. The two blue tops back there are absorbed glass mat, and they're also Exides. But here we go. We're set. I got my air filter and my oil filter. Well, like I said, I'm going to button this thing back up, mow a couple swaths with it, and just make sure that it's mowing level and that it's leaving the stripes that it's supposed to leave. And then I'm going to go in the house and eat my lunch. So that's your friendly neighborhood Zippo. If you guys liked it and you're not subscribed, I make it really, really easy. You push right there, you can subscribe, and here's a couple of random videos. I promise you guys I will see you on the next one. And Wireman Bob, thank you again.